This week on Sailing Balachandra, I have something brand new to announce. We're starting a new YouTube channel called Sailing Gear. It's a YouTube channel dedicated just to talking about new, used, and forgotten sailing gear to benefit cruisers and sailors alike, so you know what works and what doesn't. What I'd like you to do right now is go check out the first video and subscribe to my channel. You can get there by clicking the link above or follow this address. Thanks, guys. In this video, we sight a vessel in distress, which turns out to be completely unmanned and adrift under full sail. We arrive in Jacksonville, Florida, and make a creative attempt at clearing the Buckman Bridge. Last time, on Sailing Balachandra, we left Havana, Cuba for Key West, Florida, taking along Tom, an American citizen we repatriated. Then we sailed north along the Florida Keys.
Hi, if you're new to the channel, I'm Noelle.
And I'm Dan.
And we're Sailing Balachandra.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel, just go below this video, look for the big red subscribe button, and press that button. So we're having a very interesting morning. Saw a sailboat that was almost crossing our path, but their jib was flogging like wildly. And we thought there must be something wrong, some kind of a distress or emergency. Blow the horn. Do it again. So we did a little circle around the boat and tried to hail them, blew the horn, and nobody was aboard. The jib's flogging, but the main is still tight and keeping the boat on an angle, and I think the autopilot's engaged or something, but it's moving. But it looks like maybe a solo sailor or something had something happen, maybe got caught in a storm, and I think he went overboard. I don't know, but it's completely unmanned. We tried to hail them. We're about 20 miles from Jacksonville, Florida, so we called into the Jacksonville Coast Guard with all of the information, so I'm assuming they'll come and check on this boat. But we took a photo, got our video. We considered boarding and investigating it ourselves, but being underway and, you know, two vessels moving around, it just seemed too risky to leave our vessel and approach it, and having already notified the Coast Guard, I think it was the right, you know, the only real option for us at that time. But I really hope that whoever was sailing this boat either got lifted off of it or rescued in some way and didn't fall overboard and drown or whatnot, or that they had a personal e-burp device on them or something if they were smart. But I don't know. It's a fully outfitted cruising boat. It's got, like, you know, dinghy, couple outboard motors and everything, but it looks like it's been through some bad stuff. I mean, the jib sheets are torn right off the jib sail. The bimini is damaged, the Dodger's damaged, so, you know, it probably saw some heavy weather, I'm not sure. Anyway, whoever owns that boat, I hope they're okay. Maybe we'll find out down the road. Once within cell phone range, I placed a call to the U.S. Coast Guard and asked about the unmanned vessel. We were told that the U.S. Coast Guard airlifted 8 passengers off vessel Orion the night before in a storm and set the vessel adrift. The owner had released all claim to the vessel, and under maritime law, it was now considered salvage. Had I known this when we came upon her, we would have attempted to get aboard, stow her sails, and tow her to Jacksonville. Still, with only Noelle and myself, it would have been risky and potentially dangerous, and I'm glad we were not tempted to do so at the time. It also seems very irresponsible of the U.S. Coast Guard to leave a vessel adrift. Perhaps towing is the responsibility of the owner, and the cost of towing was probably beyond what the owner was willing to pay. So we're just coming up on Jacksonville now. We're about 20 nautical miles out, and we can't quite see it yet, but we know it's in the distance. So we should be into Jacksonville by dinner time, and then we just have to get down the ICW to Green Cove Springs, and we'll anchor out and decide how and when we'll be hauling out of the water. Alright, so we're just south of Jacksonville, Florida. There's Jacksonville in the distance behind me. And we're on the St. Johns River heading towards Green Cove Springs Marina, where we're going to do our haul out. For the season, we got to paint the bottom. We're going to stay out of the water for hurricane season because this is the division line that our insurance company gives us here in Jacksonville, where we have to get the boat north enough that we can be insured. We'd be insured for hurricanes either way, but it's much cheaper to be here in Jacksonville, and it wasn't too far for us to go. We're still in Florida, and that's the plan right now going forward, so we'll see. So we're just coming up on the Buckman Bridge, which was the only bridge of concern for us. We were able to get through all of the other bridges. There was 3 or 4 back there. And the lowest height so far was 74 feet. No problem for us, but our mast is about 64 and change. The Buckman Bridge has a 65 foot. Our mast plus antenna means that we'll have difficulty getting under the bridge, but that's the bridge height at high tide. And there's maybe 1 to 3 foot tide in here, so at low tide we should technically be able to go under that bridge without a problem. But I read some notes on the internet that it's been known to have a higher water. We'll see what happens when we get there and we read the tide table and make our decision. We're just coming up on that bridge now, so we'll have to wait and see. But the wind is blowing strong today from the south with gusts up to 20 to 28 knots, and if we get 28 knot gusts blowing on this river, it could decrease the water level by an extra foot or 2, which could give us a real break getting under that bridge, and we might have plenty of clearance. So we'll try to record that as we do it, and if we get under that bridge, then win-win. If for some reason we can't get under the bridge, we'll hang out for a day or 2 and see if the water level changes, because lots of factors involved here between the tides and how wide the river is, and all that plays a role. So, but we'll watch the tide table, and if we don't get what we want, then we're gonna have to turn the boat around and leave Florida altogether and probably go north into Georgia, maybe into Brunswick, Georgia, and find a marina where we can haul out for a good price. But we have friends waiting for us here at Green Cove Springs, so hopefully we can get in there and keep our boats nearby other boats we know. That's kind of the plan, so wish us luck. All right, so we are anchored at the foot of the Buckman Bridge now, and I can see the tide chart with my binoculars, and it's reading roughly 65 feet 8 inches or so, maybe 65, almost 66 feet. And that's exactly what I calculated our mast height to be, was 65 feet 8 inches, including our Windex anemometer and our VHF antenna. So we can probably go through, but our VHF antenna is probably going to ting off the bridge. But according to the internet and some of the calculations I've been doing observing the tide coming in here, we should have 2 or 3 hours left before we're at mean low tide. And the wind is supposed to increase a little bit in the next hour or so, blowing the tide outwards. So it actually should cause the tide to drop a little bit more and make us feel a little bit more comfortable about going under this bridge. So that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm just staying up here on deck. I'm keeping a close eye on it, and hopefully we'll get what we want and we'll be able to go through in the next half hour to an hour. Well, we made it. We're on the other side of the Buckman Bridge. That's the Buckman Bridge behind me, and we came through unscathed, but it wasn't easy. It was kind of hovering there around 65.5 feet. And it just stayed there, and there was a good hour, maybe 2 hours for the tide to finish dropping, and it still said 65.5 feet. We had to do something. This was the day to go. The wind was blowing hard with the tide on its way out, and lowest the tide was probably going to be for the next month until the next full moon maybe. We had to go for it, but we were really, really nervous because we measured the mast to 65 feet 8 inches, and we knew that our headgear would probably touch. We decided we'd try something a little bit radical, so we swung the boom all the way over to the port side. And at the end of the boom, we used our main sheet block and tackle to attach our dinghy. We took all of the water jugs and diesel jugs that we have stored on deck, and they're pretty heavy. We threw those in the dinghy. Any buckets we had, we filled them with seawater. We put all that in the dinghy, and anything heavy we could find went in the dinghy. And it created quite a bit of weight in the dinghy. And we lifted the dinghy out of the water using our main sheet block and tackle. And just that maneuver forced the boat to lean over almost 20 degrees. So we went below and we took everything that was heavy and we threw it over onto the port side of the boat. We came back up and we checked the lean. It looked pretty good. It probably meant that we gained about 6 inches clearance under the bridge. So we went under the bridge with about a 20-degree lean on the boat and our dinghy hanging off of our boom. We approached the bridge really slow. We had a headwind and the tide was against us, so we could go pretty much idle speed, have a way to back away if we didn't like the way things were going. We could just put it in reverse and probably drift away from the bridge. The VHF antenna did start banging off the girders. It banged off literally every girder, like ting, 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 ting. Anemometer and our Windex did not touch the top of the bridge, and we got through unscathed. Leaning the boat over might have helped, maybe it didn't, but you know, it's cheap insurance, right? I mean, if you can do anything to improve your situation and it's safe, you should do it. That maneuver might have saved our mast. We'll have to try that again when we come back through this bridge at the end of hurricane season, but we did make it and we're really happy. And now we're going to head off to Green Cove Springs after a little rest. And that's where we're planning to do our haul out for hurricane season. So yeah, see how it goes.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to leave us a like or a comment below. We enjoy reading those. And hit that big red subscribe button if you enjoyed what you saw today.
And if you haven't checked out our Patreon page, it's always a good time to do so. Patreon is a place where you can give back if you like what we do and you want to support us. Thanks.
Bye.
See you later.